After we last spoke, James, in April 2015?
I think that's right. It's been a while.
Yeah, the world was probably a not completely different place, but it was
It's
definitely different.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a little different.
Different. But when we spoke to you then, did you have a vision of where you wanted your filmmaking career to go?
I think that if you have an idea of where you need to go, you have to think about how you want to get there. And so it's about steps. And so when I saw you last, I had just done a couple of projects, some of which I was happy with, some of which I wasn't. And so I said, if I'm going to go where I want to be eventually, I've got to be very specific with the choices that I make to get to that point. And that's what I've been doing. I've been very meticulous about the choices I've made and the projects I've selected. The things that I've made, I've ensured that they have the resources requisite to do them. And I've tried to be at that point where I've had enough experience that I know what I'm doing, but if I want to be where I want to end up, I've got to be very specific with those choices I make.
Are you now where you wanted to be?
It's interesting, isn't it? Because when you're working, I think that you assume that the mountain you're climbing is the place you're going to end up, right? If I make it to that point, or if I make that project, that will get me here. But that's actually false, because when you get to the top, when you get to whatever mountain you're trying to climb, doesn't matter what it is, you realize there's a whole mountain chain in front of you, right? And you get there and you're like, oh, there's now this next thing I have to do, and this next thing I have to do. And it goes on and on. And so there really isn't a point in which I think you have arrived in that sense. There's always a new challenge or a new mountain that you have to climb. And so the further you climb, the more you get to do wherever you're trying to get to. You can get closer to that.
Was there anything that happened, and you don't have to give us total specifics or name any names, but where it was like a real eye-opener that you weren't expecting it? It could be positive, negative.
Certainly. Well, when you're directing things, you don't always have control over the outputs. You're responsible for the creative, you're responsible for how it comes out, and if you've done a good or a bad job or mediocre, whatever it is, that comes out in creative. But when you're done with the film, it's the producers, it's the financiers, they're the people that dictate what happens to that project. And that's something that can be very disheartening to learn if it doesn't go the way you hope it does, even if you've made a good film. And that's something you have to learn to reckon with. That's one lesson that I have learned for sure.